Hello and welcome back to Rewildology, the podcast that explores conservation, travel, and rewilding the planet. I'm your host, Brooke Mitchell-Norman, conservation biologist and adventure traveler. In today's episode, we're going to take another deep dive into a very recent headline that was just released a couple days ago. In case you missed it, 8 African cheetahs are being translocated to India. Yes, the rumors are true. India is about to have all 5 of its traditional big cat species within its borders. Instead of me analyzing this breaking news story, I phoned a friend, someone you all have heard more than once and who happens to personally know the scientists in charge of this historic move. Stotra Chakrabarti, PhD. Stotra is literally in India at this very moment, and we've been WhatsApping back and forth about this translocation and lots of other stuff. I asked him if he'd be game to send me audio responses to my questions, and he said yes. You all know I can't keep this amazing information to myself. I'm always thinking about how I can get breaking information out to you too. And so, Stotra, with all of his connections and wisdom, kindly opened my eyes to aspects of this historic translocation that I didn't know anything about. And I'm excited to share them with you too. Okay, I'll stop talking now and let you get to the episode. Yes. Please subscribe wherever you're listening, follow the show on your favorite social media app, and sign up for the Rewildology newsletter at rewildology.com. Phew, okay, got all the promotional stuff out of the way. And now, friends, here is Stotra Chakrabarti giving us a breakdown about the unbelievable cheetah translocation from Africa to India. Enjoy!
Why is this move happening, this historic move of cheetahs happening to India? Asiatic cheetahs got exterminated in India by the late 1940s, and I think the last documentation was way back in 1948. Since the past decade, a plan for reintroducing cheetahs to India has been in the works, and cheetah reintroduction is to promote the conservation of grasslands or open natural ecosystems as a flagship, charismatic umbrella species. Why aren't Asiatic cheetahs being translocated to India? Well, currently the only surviving wild population of Asiatic cheetahs are found in Iran, and their numbers are as low as 30 animals. Actual estimates are contentious, but what we know for sure is that the population is tiny, it's critically endangered, and hence cannot be used as a source for establishing a new population in India without detrimentally affecting the source population itself. Do you know why Namibian cheetahs are being translocated versus other African countries? Well, just to answer that question, cheetahs will be sourced not just from Namibia, but also from South Africa. Now, the IUCN reintroduction guidelines define reintroduction as the intentional movement and release of an organism inside its indigenous range from which it has disappeared. While in the case where the original indigenous organism is not available, then the guidelines suggest to use the most suitable existing subspecies or a close relative of the extinct subspecies within the same genus that is similar in appearance, ecology, and behavior to the extinct form. Now, this is referred to as conservation introduction. The locally extinct cheetah subspecies of India, as I just mentioned, survive as a small, tiny relic population in Iran. And they are critically endangered. And as I just mentioned before, they cannot be used as a source population to establish a founder or to establish the population in India. The next ideal choice for the founder population would be from populations that were genetically, ecologically, and behaviorally closest to the extinct cheetah in India. Now, amongst mammals, cheetahs are recorded to have one of the least genetic diversity and are more similar to each other across their entire range when compared to other species. Thus, the considered opinion of cheetah geneticists from across the world, after careful evaluation, different studies, is that all subspecies of the cheetah are equally close to the Asiatic cheetah that was once found in India. Thus, the criteria for genetic considerations do not play an important role in selecting a founding population. What does really matter is that the source should have an availability of a continuous supply of legally obtained healthy cheetahs that are genetically diverse, can hunt wild prey, and are fit to be released in the wild. And the only population that currently, I believe, meets the above requirements of a source for India's efforts to introduce the cheetah are from Southern Africa, that is South Africa, Namibia, and Botswana. This region holds more than 66% of the global cheetah population. I think the cheetah population numbers are around 4,000, and thus they are the ideal choice to be the source of the founding population of cheetahs in India. Are there any biological or physiological concerns for African cheetahs being moved to India? Well, I don't see any strong biological or physiological concern for African cheetahs being moved to Kuno because the habitats are pretty similar. The prey system would be novel for the cheetahs, the new cheetahs that are brought in, but as far as I know, with all my experience of working with carnivores, they quickly adapt. Other stressors that are associated with such an ambitious and bold conservation program, which involves very long distance transport of founding animals, can be reduced through medical assistance, soft release of animals, and post release intensive monitoring. And I believe the Indian government is committed to fulfill all of these duties. Was Kuno Palpur National Park chosen as the place to relocate these cheetahs? Well, there were actually 10 potential sites that were evaluated for the feasibility of establishing the cheetah population, which was the evaluation was based on IUCN guidelines for reintroduction, which definitely considers species viability based on different parameters. And based on all of that, Kuno National Park in the state of Madhya Pradesh in central India has been considered ready for receiving cheetahs with the least management interventions, since a lot of investments have already been done in this protected area for reintroducing Asiatic lions. Now, at presently, Kuno National Park covers an area of around 750 square kilometers, which has been made free of all human habitation through incentivized voluntary relocation of forest settlements. The national park and the adjoining buffer is part of the larger Kuno Wildlife Division, which covers an area of more than 1,200 square kilometers. There is a perennial river which flows through the park, and the terrain and the landscape is pretty similar to where you find cheetahs in southern Africa. And also the contiguous patch of habitat all across Kuno is more than 6,500 square kilometers with a with a quite considerable potential for cheetah occupancy of more than 3,000 square kilometers. So this vast stretch of area which can be potentially used for any carnivore has been deemed fit for hosting the cheetahs in India. Will these cheetahs run into conflict with tigers? Well, currently there are no tigers in Kuno, but there are leopards. I'm certain there will be some levels of competition between the two carnivores, but also there seems to be enough space for the predator guild to coexist. I believe intensive monitoring and active management would be required initially for the establishing cheetah population so that every individual is safeguarded against any sort of competitive threat. Do I have any idea about the timeline when the cheetahs will officially be in India? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but what I've gathered from the media, from the press, and from talking to scientists who are behind the scenes of this huge historic program is that the cheetahs are supposed to be in India by mid-August this year. What do you foresee as the future of this historic move? Well, if I can delve into philosophy, I would say that it would definitely set a precedence of a bold conservation move, championing a strong narrative of active management in India, or active conservation management in India. If done correctly, and I'm optimistic about it, it would be a strong impetus for grassland conservation in India, because grasslands and open natural ecosystems are highly undervalued in the protection regime in India, and cheetahs would be a very charismatic face of this very undervalued ecosystem. I do not know about the tourism potential of the cheetahs that are to be brought in, because I don't know if the area would be open for tourism anytime soon. But definitely in the long run, this move would garner a lot of public interest, which it is already, towards conservation, because it would just add a charismatic felid or a charismatic carnivore to the already charismatic, already abundant Indian carnivore guild. Imagine India hosting so many big cats, Asiatic lions, tigers, snow leopards, and now cheetahs. Crazy! Personal thoughts? Well, I am super excited. I'm on the edge of my seat. Well, this would be an historic opportunity. This would be such a bold move. It would be such a great opportunity for conservation. It would be such a great opportunity for research in the long run. I'm very optimistic knowing India's commitments to conservation, and personally knowing the scientific community who are leading this effort. I would just say that this program is in good hands.
Hey, thanks again for listening to this episode of Rewildology. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button to never miss a future episode. Do you have a cool environmental organization, travel story, or research that you'd like to share? Let me know at rewildology.com. Until next time, friends, together we will rewild the planet.